Hi, everybody. This is Barbara Mayerson from joyandsuccess.com, and I have Tam Veilleux on today, and I'm real excited about it because we're talking about a subject which I have not talked about before, and so we're going to learn a little bit about it. So, welcome, Tam. Thank you for joining me today.
I appreciate that you invited me onto your summit. Thank you for having me, Barbara.
Oh, my pleasure. So before we get started in what we're going to talk about, which is going to be astrology, which is your topic, but like, how did you get started talking about it and teaching about it? And let's start with that.
Yeah, well, oddly enough, my forte is not really astrology. I'm actually what I call a quantum coach. I help people with their energy bodies. I help them sort of align their mind, body, and spirit. I've been coaching since 2012, and I got to this point in my coaching career where I was at a crossroads. I'm like, I need to shift my business because my heart isn't happy anymore. I wanted to be more creative, right? So I'm an artist by nature. I'm an artist and I love writing. So I was like praying to God, like, bring me something so I can really pour my creativity into it. Well, a few weeks later, I had this sort of happenstance visit with a friend who I didn't know was like a channel. She could just psychically read the energy field. And she basically told me, you're going to go into astrology. You need to write a book. It's going to be the astrology for the year ahead. And you're going to help everybody understand how astrology can help them.
Wow.
I was like, you're kidding. Barbara, I cried. I bawled like a baby. I'm like, no, I don't know astrology. I've always had an interest in astrology, but I didn't understand it. I've always been curious, but I was always afraid of it. So this woman, friend of mine, she kept assuring me, you're going to be fine. It's all going to work out. Like, you're going to make a book by the end of the year. That was in May of 2018. And if you need a little funny joke, like, May the 4th be with you. It was literally May 4th that this astrological idea was poured into me. I ended up, after a lot of struggle, putting the book together so that it was ready for December 1st of 2018. And that was the first Energy Almanac, a book that gave you in advance an idea what the energy would be like for the year. So it was 12 months worth of articles, and I invited, we did gemstones and we did yoga. So you would know what tools you needed so that you could work through the energy, right? Well, then I up-leveled the book and I said, let's do weekly astrology readings instead. So now people can grab my book and read, okay, this week, pay attention to relationships because this planet, that planet, blah, blah, blah. And so that's what we do. And Barbara, it has been the best thing I ever did. Deeply understanding astrology has helped me and my readers connect dots that make life easier. It makes life easier when you understand what Saturn is doing, what Venus is doing, why Sagittarius matters. It's just incredible.
Wow, I mean, that's amazing. Like, we were talking before I started recording that I had gone to an astrologer years ago, and we're talking about money a lot, and I've shied away. I do so many practices, but for some reason, I shy away from astrology. I don't know why, but I have a lot of people, because we don't understand it, shy away from it. We read the horoscopes and, in the newspaper, and whether or not they're real or not real. Pretty much everybody, I imagine there are a lot of people that shy away from it. I don't know. I can only speak for myself.
I think it's because really the horoscopes that you read in the newspaper, I'm sure you remember Jean Dixon and all her predictions. They're so generalized. I'm a Virgo, and for all the millions of Virgos out there, we're all different. We all have different movement inside of our natal astrology chart. There's no way it can be accurate for the bulk of us. However, when you look a little deeper, there are some generalities that are common to everybody. So astrology, the topic is so big and so deep and so layered, it scares most people. Trying to understand a trine versus an opposition versus it's a lot to remember. So it really is a craft. It's an art and a science, and I call it a craft, and it requires a lot of understanding. But if you use something like, let me just step back here. If you use something like my book, The Energy Almanac, we did all the hard work for you. I went and I said, this is what Saturn means, and this is why you need to know that this week. I took all the hard work out. So now people can actually connect the dots and begin to understand it more fully.
I had read something in on your website. I'm not sure exactly where I read it about you, but saying something about like you needing to know the birth date, and that by knowing the birth date, you can get more and a more accurate reading. Is that the case? Not just, I'm Scorpio, and not just knowing Scorpio, born in November, but you have to know the exact date. Do you know they have to know the year and the birth, the time, and all of that?
To get a really accurate astrology reading, a natal reading, which is a birthday reading, you need your date, your time, and the location, because the longitude and latitude coordinates are what indicate exactly where the planets were in the sky at the time of your birth. And that's what will give you an entire map for your future. It will indicate how you do relationships, how you relate to your family. It will tell you some of your interests. It will tell you your best career ideas. It will, I mean, it covers your entire life. How you do solitude, how you do community, how you do family. It's everything. It's pretty remarkably accurate if you have the interest in going all the way with it.
Is it kind of, I mean, because you get a little scared by it. Then does it read negative things, or does it always read positive things?
Well, that's a trick question, because to me, there's lessons inside of negativity. There's lessons inside of every hurdle that we go to. So it will tell you where your struggle areas will be, but to me, like, applied knowledge is power. If you know you're always going to bump up against debt because there's a little something in your debt area, now you know, and now you have the foresight to work around it. And that is the gift of astrology. It will tell you where are your hurdles and where are your opportunities.
I mean, that's really it. Yeah, there is something good in even if in a negative situation. If you look at it like that it's okay. But I think that people do look at astrology, and it's just so woo-woo out there. And even more than the other things that I mean, I would love to learn more about it myself. And we have a holistic group now. They're meeting online, but they used to meet in person, that is run by astrologers. And every time she's there and talking about it, I'm like, I'm not going. So
that's too bad. There's so much to be gained. Let me tell you why. Let me give you the best example I can give you. And that is the year 2020. The year in and of itself, it explains how the benefit of understanding astrology. All the astrologers knew that there was a massive transit happening in January of 2020. And when it happened, it was going to be a trigger point that would set off a series of events that would be difficult. We knew, hold on to your hat. It's going to be a tough year.
Wow.
Now, in and of itself, wouldn't that be enough to make you go, oh, wait, there's more to this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, we also knew that Saturn was coming into Aquarius. Saturn is about boxes and restrictions. So if this is my box right here, these are my edges, and Aquarius rules groups of people. Now we understand why we have a quarantine going on. Do you understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
And think, what?
No, go ahead.
I was also going to say, like, if you think of Saturn as being disciplined and structured and confining, think about the mask. Aquarius ruling groups of people wearing a mask. That energy has been present all year long. Astrology will really foretell some potentials. It's not absolutes, because we have free will as a people, but the potentials are there, and it will tell you what those potentials are.
That's really interesting. Does So you knew a year ago, almost a year ago, that something major was going to happen in 2020. Now,
Absolutely. Everybody did. All the astrologers knew. Yeah. Yep.
that's really amazing. Now looking ahead, like, is it getting better? Can you tell that it's going to get better?
I knew you'd ask that question. I always say, tell everybody it is not a secret. We have passed the test. Yes, it is going to get easier, but not without some bumps in the road. So if 2020 was like that, this next year is going to be like this. So it's going to be softer, but there's definitely going to be some choice points and some difficult moments for sure. But it will be softer. And I actually have, with the help of my astrologer, Shelley N. Teen, have been able to come out and say your question for next year, your guiding question is status quo or forward flow. Next year, what we're going to bump up against is, do we stay in our old, this is what I know, comfort zone, or are we going to move into the age of Aquarius and flow towards something new, exciting, different that will help the masses?
Well, is that possible? Because I mean, as an astrologer, you could probably see that. As a layperson, I'm hoping that's the case.
I can see we win. In the end, we all win, and that's an intuitive thing from me. We win in the end, and I know that. Astrologically, yes, there are bumps in the road, but we're moving into the age of Aquarius, which means we take care of each other. Aquarians love group energy. They want to help everybody that they meet. They're friendly and they're gregarious, and they think outside the box. Yeah. And that's what it's going to take for us to move into the future, is that out of the box thinking.
Yeah, we need a lot of that, because I mean, so many people are thinking inside the box, and they're too afraid to think outside the box or be different. And that's what I'm hoping for. And that's what I've been talking to some of my other speakers about, that we need to think out of the box. We want people to start thinking for themselves and not thinking the way the masses are thinking. And I'm hoping that that's the case.
Exactly. It's time to bust out.
Yeah. I know, like, the people in my immediate world are really in the box. And
whoops, I've lost the connection.
Oh, you've lost the connection?
Where?
Am I back? Okay.
You're in and out a little bit. Yep.
The people in my immediate world are very much in the box. I don't see them getting out of the box at all. But I mean, I know there are a lot of people around the world that are like me and like you, and are out of the box thinking, and that's very encouraging.
And the best thing that we can do for the people, well, I want to also encourage that those of us who are thinking outside of the box need to hold the vision that the other people will come along. Mm-hmm. We need to hold the vision that they might have a moment where they realize, like, wait a minute, how I'm thinking isn't serving me, and I need to think differently. Like, complacency is the enemy of success. We need more people to be less complacent and more willing to try something different. And astrology might just be that.
I don't know what kind of tools that astrology would give us to be able to do that, to think outside of the box, or just to make life easier for ourselves. Are there certain tools that we can, like with tapping? I know you do temple tapping, but other tools that astrology does?
To me, the astrology in and of itself is the tool. It's the guidebook for what's going to happen every week, every day, really. It's really about learning to be in sync with the natural rhythms that the planets provide. So planets are big balls of energy vibrating over us. If we have a planet that's Jupiter vibrates an energy of abundance. It vibrates hopefulness. It vibrates joy and justice. And it's a big energy. So when it is present, you'll naturally feel it. But when you know it's coming, you can look for it. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a tool in and of itself. I will say this, like, we have major turning points coming up astrologically, and one of them is going to happen in December of 2020. Now, this will have happened by the time somebody is listening to this summit. That event that happened on December 21st was a major trigger point that's going to give everybody an opportunity to feel more consciousness. Jupiter is going to come in and expand our consciousness in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is about the intuition. So here comes Jupiter and it goes, hey, make the intuition really big. It gives us new ways of showing up. Knowing that, now you can lean in further, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's really exciting. Like, how do you know? So on December 21st, Jupiter will be coming in. Will I be able to see Jupiter? Would I be able to, or just feel Jupiter? Or how do I know that Jupiter is there?
Actually, in the instance of Jupiter and Saturn on December 21st, everybody will have had the opportunity to see it in the sky. It's very highly rare for that to happen, but you will be able to see it as a big star in the sky on December 21st. For those of you who are listening to this in January or February, look it up on Google. There'll be pictures of it because it was a major conjunction that hasn't happened in about 4,000 years.
Really?
So,
wow.
Yeah, the planets have a pattern. They're always moving in the same pattern. We know their pace. We've been able to measure how fast they move. And that's why an astrologer can go in and go, oh yeah, December 21st, Saturn will be here and Jupiter will be here, and their energy is going to be shared. And it's going to be a oneness and a coming together. And what will that do to everybody who is feeling that vibration? And that's the story that gets told through astrology.
That's very exciting. Now it's up in the sky. You can see the Jupiter and Saturn together on December 21st at night. I guess at night.
Whoops.
Did I lose you again?
Breaking up a little bit.
Breaking up. So on December 21st, is it going to be at night
Yeah, you did. Night, you're back again.
At a particular time? Is it only for like a second?
I think it's about 20 seconds. Seconds that they're aligned so closely. Of course, because of how big they are, I'm sure we'll see it for longer than 20 seconds, but there is a perfect alignment coming.
Any particular time? Or, I mean, there must be a time.
There is, but I can't quote it. I don't remember.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll have to just stand there and look out at the stars and on December 21st. That's really very fascinating because like it makes it clearer, it makes it more understandable. And if we are not afraid of astrology, and I think whatever we don't know, we get afraid of it. And
exactly.
Saying, yes, I don't know it, and it scares me a little bit, but I know I really want to know it. How could I go about start to studying it?
I like to say the energy almanac. To be honest, I keep it so simple. One of my gifts as a teacher is that I know how to break things down and simplify them. And in the front of the book, I give a basic lesson in astrology. And these pages, I mean, right here, this here is a very quick explanation of how astrology works. So if I can explain it really quickly, I talked about Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. If you think of Jupiter as a personality, each planet represents a personality. And then what happens as Jupiter is moving in the sky, it will go through, we'll say, Aquarius. Well, Aquarius would represent the outfit or the clothing that Jupiter is putting on. Mm. So maybe Jupiter is going to be in Aquarius, and Aquarius would represent free flowing, because Aquarius is very, like I said, they're friendly and fun and they're out of the box. So maybe it's like a muumuu or something, and maybe there's earrings and tattoos and a nose piercing. That's very Aquarius. So imagine the planet of Jupiter wearing a muumuu, and now you understand how to think about astrology. To know what Jupiter in Aquarius will affect you in life, you have to know, where is it going to play on the stage? Is it going to be in the area of home life? Or will it be in the area of my career? Or will it be in the area? So that's what all of the parts and pieces of astrology is about. And I lay that out inside of the almanac so everybody can really take and understand it at a bigger level.
When you talk about the age of Aquarius, I just can't help thinking about hair. And I guess I'm dating myself with hair. And the fifth dimension.
Right. Yeah, we're moving into the age of Aquarius. I mean, we're kind of officially in it now, but we're going deeper and deeper into it, where people are going to be much more caring about the group. They're going to be innovative. There's going to be so much innovation coming next year and the year after. It's going to blow our minds. And it's going to be about our intuition, that channeling of energy, because Aquarius rules invisible waves.
That's interesting. Now, with the fifth dimension in the show, have we been in the age of Aquarius ever since that show? I don't know, forget 30 years ago or whatever it was.
Some people, some astrologers, and the astrologer who helped me with the new energy almanac, Shelley Entine, she feels we are already in the age of Aquarius. It's just, it's a very long process to get us, for all the planets to get inside of Aquarius. But with these two more planets, Jupiter and Saturn, moving in December, we're really, really going to feel the effect of what Aquarius means.
Now, I know your book sounds fascinating, but if people don't want to get it or don't do it, is there other ways that they could find out a little bit more about astrology?
Everywhere. Honestly, all of the great teaching sites like Teachable and Thinkific, you can Google astrology. They all have beginner astrology courses. YouTube, tons of YouTube people have astrology courses for free on their YouTube channels, and that's fine. I am not a teacher of astrology. I am a reporter of astrology. I know what's going on, and I'm able to speak about it, but I don't teach. I pretend to teach it.
I know you're breaking up right now. You're kind of like, can you hear me? Okay, yeah.
I can, yeah.
Okay, good. Well, it really sounds fascinating, and it sounds like something, I mean, you're showing me right now not to be so afraid of it and to want to look into it a little bit more and to focus on, and I guess thinking, I know like when I talk about a November baby, which I'm a November baby, and like thinking, do we all have the same, even though I know it's still broad, but do we all have like sort of basic qualities that is the same?
Yes, exactly. So anybody who's under the label of Scorpio will have very similar flavor. You typically are interested in the mystical and the occult. Scorpios are very sensual and sexual. Scorpios, their motivations can be very secretive. Scorpio tends to be very secretive. They're not going to tell you everything. They're not going to show you all their cards at once. I'm a Virgo. I am all about analysis. I'm always, some would say nitpicking. That would be my husband. But it's all about perfectionism through analysis and also service. Virgos are people who want to serve other people. So there are known qualities about every single zodiac sign. And by you understanding who you are, and by you looking and saying, oh, my friends who are Virgos, they're like this, they're very analytical, that's why they show up that way. It helps us to get along as a group.
So it's like, instead of like, so if you know what the other zodiac or the sign is, you can.
I think we're breaking up again.
You're breaking up again. What if you know what the sign is? Am I back? Don't seem to be back. I think.
Yeah. Us understanding each other's signs is extremely beneficial. Bubbly in personality.
If you're born like close to another sign, you have both.
I hear you.
So if you're born at the end of one sign in the beginning, or like a day or two before the other sign is, do you have more qualities?
So.
Are you back?
There you go. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, you blipped off. But anyway, yes. So I'm actually a cusp baby. I'm born on September 22nd. The next day, the sign changes into Libra. So do I have a little bit of those qualities? I do. But am I a Virgo? I am. And all astrologers will tell you the day you're born is the day you're born, and that makes you whatever sign that is. But I tend to find people who are cuspers do tend to have a lot of both. A lot of both flavors.
I've also seen like I have a family member. She was born on August 23rd, but sometimes she's a Leo, and sometimes what's the next one after that? I've seen it both for her that she's not always August 23rd. Goes sometimes it's one sign, sometimes it's the other. How do you? Is it when she's born, or the year that she's born?
So that's just, so she's like a Leo Virgo. And so it depends on her birth date and time should specify which sign of that she is. She's one or she's the other. But you also need to know there's two kinds of astrology. There's Western astrology, and then there's the more Eastern astrology, and those do read slightly different. But again, I'm not a professional astrologer. I'm a student of astrology, and I'm a reporter of that, to help her understand that.
Well, that's very fascinating. I know we keep on going in and out, and so before we completely go out altogether, I just am so interested in the subject all of a sudden, and want to learn more about it. And
I hope that you do. I hope that you really go into it, like get the book, because it's the easiest way to understand. Let me give you a little clue for January. I'm going to say the week of January 11th to 17th. So the week that this summit might be going on, it says this week, difficult planetary aspects might have you keeping your head under the covers, but it's okay. There are positive moments this week too. Much of this is going to play out on the world stage. But you may also have personal events that occur now too. Use keen observation and awareness to guide you for the next couple of weeks. Now, how easy is that to understand how to use astrology?
yeah, that's easy. All right, that's easy. Well, that's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so they can get your book, and how else can they find you? People find you.
So anybody can find me at theenergyalmanac.com. That's the name of the book. And my coaching website, if you want to follow me on social media and all of that, go to choosebigchange.com. There's a free report you can get there, and you can learn about my coaching. I do group coaching, private coaching, and I have all kinds of products about healing your emotional past. Energy work. It's all energy work, which you love, Barbara.
Yeah, I do. I love all that stuff. All right, so now I have another tool to learn. Like, how much fun is that? And I hope all of you guys will tune in and get excited about astrology. And it's a new subject for me, a new subject for my summit. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.